Emulation device is something from a very long time ago. I find it fascinating to see that they ripping always something off. If it's like looking on like a PlayStation 2 or looking like a PlayStation 3 Mini, I have no idea what they're doing over there. It's kind of weird, and this is one of those great examples. They're not like really creative, you're just calling this the game box, but we have seen all kinds of very strange names come by, and this is an old tech, that is one thing to be sure. This is emulation based and it had the potential to play all kinds of console and handheld devices. And when you're going to be looking inside of this thing, it's quite interesting. Yeah, this looks kind of weird. Seriously, like it looks really weird. Having on and off switch, I think this is the reset button. I'm guessing this is touch or some kind. So we do have, I'm hoping I'm not going to be needing the game card because this wasn't included. I told the seller. At the front we're having 4 USB ports, so that's interesting that we do have this option. So at the back we're finding the Gamebox model GBX 1001. So this is the US version, 6 volt, 6 watts. So the question remains, what is the power supply? The power supply is actually 100 and 240 volts. And yeah, the voltage is kind of weird. 6 volt is something you don't see very often. There is only one controller and it's called the Game Oaks. Yeah, whatever. So this is the cheap PlayStation knockoff controllers, and oh man, the right joystick is already broken. So yeah, that is some really good quality. AV out specifications, the same shenanigans that we have seen before. Nothing of an interesting information on and off switch. So we do have 9041 zip file, and there is all kinds of cool stuff on here. So I'm seeing some GBA, we have some MAME, we have some Neo Geo, carrier aircraft wing. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So there is already a lot of stuff built in. It's interesting. I do wonder like where they were selling this. Were they selling this in only in US region, China region? So where we have been a lot of Pandora's boxes, but before that time there is a lot of weird stuff on here that we can actually play. But there is this like built-in games, and on the box it doesn't state anything. But that's also like interesting to have like this plug and play situation with a cartridge. But there is nothing of an information. It would be cool to have an extra cartridge to see what is on there. But let's start up on game and let's see what happens. Oh, okay, I don't know what just happened. Did I remove it or what? No, it just automatically goes up. That's kind of weird. So next up, let's do some Cadillac and Dinosaurs. I'm guessing need to press the A button. Now we'll start up the file itself. No signal. Okay. Oh yeah, this doesn't sound like it's supposed to be. Oh, yeah. And let's be honest, there is no manual whatsoever. So we can actually pause. Well, there is no way of going back to the main menu. Okay. We do have a turbo button. Oh man, that's really bad. So we can jump. Okay. Just more like skipping the intro, like always. But so far, where the audio isn't like it's supposed to be, the over emulation seems to be working just fine. The controller too, like the controller does play okay. And I find it so fascinating with these, like say, cheap whiz systems, finding them after many years after they have been released. But one thing is sure is that when it comes to, let's say, the overall, let's say, performance, it's not perfect. But sometimes you find these very strange products like the Retro Red 5, and I didn't even pay a lot of money for it. I think it's around like 10 bucks for this. Come with wireless controllers, and it still utilizes AV out. What is even interesting with these devices that they're like having 8-bit games, where a lot of these custom homebrew games you can see on new Chinese AliExpress products. But particularly when it comes to, let's say, these mini arcades, it's still brand new sealed. But yeah, it's interesting. But let's do a quick overview of some gameplay and why this thing is so weird. Let's say a batch of rechargeable ones. Let's turn it on, let's connect it, and let's see how it is with the overall gameplay and the menu. I do wonder how much these things will cost. I'm guessing it will be quite some of money when it comes to these devices, because they are not going to be really cheap. I keep losing my screws over here. And yeah, and let's put it in. Okay, so when the system has been turned on, we do have this very nice LED indication that the system seems to be working. Okay, controllers are not limited to, let's say, a certain position, so the overall like reach of this thing is quite good. But let's take a close look at the menu. Oh man, what a relaxing tune. No Final Fight today, because they were using always that kind of a music. But Superhero, the Hacker, man, this sounds really weird when it comes to these games itself. What kind of games can we expect? A lot of weird stuff. The Hacker, you know, there are a lot of games that do appeal to me when it comes to like the tiny Matrix guy, Racing Fighter, Balloon Labyrinth. You know what's kind of the challenge? To find the games that are just rip-offs from original ones like Pinball and Hero Mice 1 and 2. Well, that doesn't say anything. I love that we take these tiny screenshots over here that gives you like an idea of what it is, or at least a little bit. Man in Red. You're just going to be starting it up because I just wanted to see what is going on over here, because there was some weird stuff. What the hell were they thinking? You know, oh man, let's reset it again. Let's see what's going on. It does save up where I last been, so that's good. Merry Christmas. Oh yeah. Oh boy, 300. We have Pong Pong. What? Console X. Let's just randomly like start up some stuff and see what happens. We do have like a shmup going on. No turbo buttons. The controls are okay. I don't like this controller at all because this controller is way too small for my hands. You know, Prey Puppet Show. And this thing is filled with all kinds of 8-bit custom crap. Like, what the hell is going on with this? Oh boy, this is not going to be an overall good, let's say, start. Yeah, okay. The D-pad is so awful on this thing. There is nothing original about this. It is like completely unplayable with this D-pad. Let's see if this is like the official pinball game. No, this is something else. Something really weird. Wow! The sound effects are even worse than the original pinball game. Oh, how do I move the flippers? There's like a couple of seconds delay in this. The Magic Cube is one of those mini game boxes they don't really make anymore, but this was another weird one. It came with a built-in speaker, and they even made two versions. So version 1 was really bad, but also the later version, revision actually, was a little bit better when it comes to the software and the overall emulation performance. But oh man, it came with these crappy Super NES controllers. You know, that's the first big mistake they're making. And sometimes you do have like more stuff you can actually play, so you're missing out buttons. I mean, particularly when it comes to emulators. Yeah, and I must say the overall design was kind of cool, but was absolutely weird. Close look at the game section. As you can see, it's more like the similar stuff we're going to get with these fake China handhelds and also with the consoles from 8-bit up to all the way up to PlayStation 1. It is possible that it's going to be running perfectly. That's what we're going to try out a little bit later in the video. So let's go back, movie, music, theme. I'm guessing you can change out the background. Yep, like always. Files, the files you're like browsing through the files itself. History, this is more like if you want to check out what games you've played before. Images, which pretty pictures. Language, let's see if it, yep, and it still got the typo of the English. So we're still having, yep, equal proportions, so let's put it on this way. With the display, this is the same like when handhelds we have full screen or wide, and we're having the 4:3 aspect ratio. And this thing has an open speaker, so let's put it on because I'm just very curious what we're going to get. Handle selection, so here we have some other options. Connection, handle computer. It was all fun and game that this device came with a built-in speaker. But the unfortunate part is that it is absolutely not a great experience. This has to do that some of the systems have not a great overall emulation performance, and we also suffer from this horrible controller that makes most of the games unplayable. And please don't even start talking about, like, say, the internal speaker, because that thing does sound okay. It's absolutely a nightmare when it comes to the output of the HDMI and switching between the internal speaker. Man, it's a one hot mess when it comes to that. I can actually make like a multiple episode of this because I've reviewed actually so many weird products, and this was one of them. You just put in a disc, but the disc was made out of a cardboard. But it actually does when you're going to be putting it in and you're just closing it into the lid and the device itself. You're actually just actually touching a button, and that will activate a certain menu. Man, the N joypad was such a weird 8-bit clone weird thing that was like the next level of craziness. So over here you can see 3 dots. So I'm guessing when you're putting in a disc like this and you close it, the only thing that it basically does is like touching one button or 2 or 3, depending of course of the disc itself. So yeah folks, that's the thing it is. There is no disk drive, whatever. It's just like kind of genius, but a weird system to load up the games. We're having here Fun Block. Box World. Oh, this really authentic sound from multicars back in the 80s, 90s. Okay, let's change disc later on. Let's try some games first. Okay, Fun Click. What the hell? Okay, I'm guessing this is like a puzzle game. How do we switch out things? Oh, we just need to click on it. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's the only thing to do. Like pressing the button, combine the items. That's it. But when you're going to be looking at game boxes, consoles, emulation, even in the arcade market, they've made some really weird stuff. Like this high definition home game box machine. But the way how these things are shaped, what were they thinking? Like they were thinking, let's combine a massive controller you can't hold, you're going to be putting it on your lap, and you can just play all kinds of retro games. Man, this is the weirdest. Yeah, really weird. So I was so curious to see what are we going to get with these controllers, but first let's take a close look at the Toilet Paper Manual Deluxe Edition. And I must say they got some good information about it, how to set it up, how everything works. They did a really good job this time. You know, having the 2 packaging is more like the normal Pandora's box. Information at the main board that we're going to talk about, what kind of specs we're going to get with that one. So overall, quite interesting. Let's take a close look at the joystick itself. Okay, so this is one of the reasons I wanted to review this thing, because this is the most weirdest Pandora's box I have ever seen in my life at the moment. And I must say that I'm a little bit surprised by it, due of the shape especially. So first of all, that to take one thing in consideration is that this thing is fully made of plastic. So normally what you're going to get with these Pandora's box, like especially the 2-player editions, that these things have like a metal shell, weight quite a lot, but this time it doesn't. So at the back you can see that they're going to get 4 of these suction knobs, and they are a little bit bent. They work very well, but let's open it up because there are some weird things with this Pandora's box. Oh, and to make it clear, basically one contains the main board, this one, but this is more like an empty shell where some suction knobs and the button and the joystick. And you connect them with the old LSP cable already shown you before. Weirdness. Alright, so I have opened up many Pandora's boxes, but this is more like the most basic way it can get, because we only need to remove a couple of these sparkers. And I guess you can flip it open. Okay, let's be very gentle. And this is how it frigging looks from the inside. So it's a quite interesting thing, in my opinion. What I think is very strange, that the thing have here a battery compartment. So here we can find a battery compartment. It's not in use, of course, but normally I think you're going to get here a PCB or a control unit for the wireless part. So the Pandora's box most are not inside, but we're just going to get like a receiver. And nevertheless, I did have like a review about the Pandora's box sticks, and I think it's a similar idea. Okay, so here we're having the speaker itself, just our typical speaker, but they forgot to put in a Parker over here, and this one has been screwed in, but it seems to be that it's not holding the speaker. A little bit of a bummer in my opinion. So here we're having the connector for player number 2. And player number 2 has been connected basically with the same connector like always with the Pandora's box, and that thing is over there. So what you're going to get is part of the controls of player 1 have been connected over here, and it goes all the way up there with the buttons and the joystick. 1 and 64. NES, Super NES, Game Boy Classic, Color and Game Advance. They still didn't fix the Mega Drive with the Xbox 360 logo. Sometimes they fix it, sometimes they don't. It's kind of weird. We're having here the PC Engine. So we're having a lot of different systems that can run on it, and also the MAME stuff. So I'm very curious how are the performance of the board. I think I already know. For the people who didn't know, I don't know. Let's try some again. And it will run like shit. Let the frame drops begin. I must say this time it is not that bad. But still, it glitches from the select screen.
Get ready, fight!
I have seen some shitty emulation, but this is not that bad in my opinion. Stay down. Next up. But you can see that we're going some weird stuff with the brightness. So when he came in, more like going all brightness up and then it goes down. It's not like it should be. See, this is what I mean, man.
Adventure. Don't forget to take advantage of
Okay, so let's see how this game is running. Still have this notice that the brightness is not like it should be. It's kind of weird.
Let the battle begin. Go!
I have no idea which button to use.